Just taking it down a little bit.
It's a dull ballad.
All right, folks, my next guest tonight makes his living ripping apart the entertainment business in publications like Rolling Stone, The Washington Post, and The New York Times. He's also written numerous books, including If You're Talking to Me, Your Career Must Be in Trouble. It's time I talk to him again. Please welcome Joe Queenan. Thank you for coming back, Joe.
Well, it's wonderful to be back.
Good to have you with us. And I understand you're working on a new book, and it has kind of an interesting premise here, the book, the thesis of the book, if you will.
The premise is, just like a lot of people, I spent most of my life, reading good books and listening to good music, eating good food. But I've always secretly wanted to eat food that sucks and read books that are terrible and listen to music that makes your stomach turn. So I wrote an article in GQ recently called How Bad Could It Be? And the premise was, you go out and you do all these things, and you know they're going to be terrible, but you figure, how bad could it be?
Okay.
Realistically.
All right.
So the first thing I did was I went to see Cats. And I always wondered what happened to Kiss after they broke up in the early 80s, and they put whiskers on Kiss, and you pay like $67.50 to see this show, and these grown men crawl around with whiskers on and go meow for about 2.5 hours. And it's an entirely pointless exercise. My daughter went with me, and she was sitting next to me, and after about the third song, she said, Is there some reason that we're here? Is there some? Because I can go home and play volleyball. I mean.
Well, what about music? What, did you seek out music that you didn't like?
Well, what I would do is I'd go to Coconuts or HMV and I'd say, I want the worst record that you have. And I didn't get the impression that this was the first time someone had asked them that question, because they'd say Neil Diamond has a new record this week, right over there, Tennessee Moon. So I bought the record, I brought it home, I listened to it, and it starts off with a song where he goes, Hollywood doesn't do it for me anymore, so I'm packing up the guitar and heading back to that old Kentucky moon. I figured, Neil Diamond grew up in Flatbush. I mean, it's like,
He wants to get in touch with his country roots, that's all.
And it's got all these songs about women named Amy. I mean, Neil Diamond doesn't. Nobody named Neil knows anybody named Amy.
Was he the... Was that the worst for you?
No. I brought the record back to the store and I said, look, I specifically asked for the worst record that you had, and they misunderstood me. They thought the worst new release. They said, if you want the worst record we have, Michael Bolton's The Classics. So I went home and I listened to the Michael Bolton record, and I thought, if it's a crime to deface Mount Rushmore or to spray graffiti on the Liberty Bell, why isn't it a crime for Michael Bolton to sing Sam Cooke songs or Irving Berlin songs?
Okay, all right.
Even so, there was, I knew they were holding out on me.
That there might be one gold nugget.
There might be something a little bit worse. So I went back and I said to the manager, I want the worst record that you have here. And he said, have you looked at the John Tesh selections? So I brought a couple of John Tesh songs, CDs home. And, this music is so much like dental music that you start flossing while you're listening to it. And the thing about John Tesh is that the music is legitimately appalling. But the thing about John Tesh is that I noticed was that if you take a poll among most people, I mean, people in this audience, for example, and you say, who's the biggest schmuck in the United States? Most people are going to go with Geraldo Rivera. I mean, he's the Wayne Gretzky of unpleasantness. Give John Tesh a couple more years. I mean, give John Tesh a couple more of these concerts.
You think this thing isn't over yet? You think that he could still win out?
I think that, did you see him cover the Olympics? You got him covering the Olympics. You got him, he's not on ET anymore, but he's out doing these concerts, these horrible, horrible concerts, playing this terrible, terrible music. You know what, here's the analogy. Did you see the World Series? John Wetland is the closer, okay? And Geraldo Rivera is still the closer of schmuckiness. But that kid, Mariano Rivera, he's the kid who's going to take the guy's job. Give Tesh 2 years, and he's going to be the Babe Ruth of schmuckiness in this country.
That's a pretty big prediction. We'll have to have you back on with Tesh to see if it comes true.
Well, don't wait 2 years to have me back on.
What about food? Did you explore the world of fine cuisine at all to see what was the worst?
I did. I'd always wondered what went on in Red Lobster. It was a place that I always figured...
You know when we lost Chuck E. Cheese about 10 minutes ago, we got Red Lobster to be a sponsor on the show.
Well, you're not going to have them at the end of this riff, okay? Red Lobster, what Red Lobster does is they have these huge vats of grease in the back, these pools of grease. And if you order shrimp, they have these like shrimp molds, and they stick the shrimp mold in there, and they fry it and microwave it, and they go, there's your shrimp.
So you didn't like anything about Red Lobster? Don't you get a plastic bib or something? Isn't there any redeeming quality to Red Lobster?
What I liked about Red Lobster was the fact that people who eat at Red Lobster think it's a really classy place, so they wear their best bowling jacket, and you definitely have this. You definitely have this attitude. Like, I went in there with my kid, and my kid had cutoffs on, and the people are looking at us like, why don't you wear some decent clothes? This ain't some damn Denny's. So there's that sponsor.
Let's see.
Denny's is a sponsor.
No, I don't think so. Not at this point. What about, okay, the literary world, the world of books?
The Celestine Prophecy. Have you read that?
No, I have not.
Okay, the Celestine Prophecy is a book where there's 10 secrets it's the secrets to mystical understanding of how the universe works, but you have to go to Peru to get them. Now, why is it that every time somebody writes a book about places where you go to get wisdom, it's some really dirt-poor, horrible country, thousands of miles away? Like Peru is a perfect example of a place that you can't learn anything from. And with all respect to Shining Path, and I don't want them coming to my house tonight.
I think the Red Lobster people are coming to your house tonight, yeah.
But
they're going to kick the crap out of you.
But the history of Peru is there's 12 million Incans who run the entire continent. 159 mangy Spaniards show up, and by Thursday they own the entire hemisphere. I don't think that there's wisdom to be imparted to us from these people. It's like a continent of 12 million pre-Columbian Greg Normans. Greg Norman's
are we
a
on in
golfer.
Peru, Jeff? No. Okay, keep going.
Okay.
Well, what about, did you go what about,
The Peruvian Red Lobster is Lobstero Rojo. So, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Now, I understand that you also recently, in the same vein, you took a trip to Atlantic City. Is that right?
Yeah.
This is the Mecca, did you feel?
This is the Mecca of class,
okay.
Atlantic City. I went to the Taj Mahal. And the Taj Mahal, of course, which is run by Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
You alienated more people in one segment than anyone ever.
He's not one of your advertisers.
No.
So Donald Trump.
He owns my apartment, though.
Yeah, have you ever been to the Taj Mahal?
No, I have not.
Okay, the Taj Mahal is great because you walk in there and a guy dressed like Ali Baba comes up to take your bags, and then a woman who looks like Jasmine from Aladdin, she's at the checkout desk, and when you're checking in, and the rooms are like $37 a week or something like that, you know, the Clinton rate. The dole rate. So in any case, you
try Perot. I mean, you'll hit him sooner or later.
You check into the place, and the woman behind the desk says, with your room, I can get you complimentary tickets for the show tonight. And you figure, well, what's the show? Tony Danza on ice? Engelbert Humperdinck under ice? And they go, no, it's Freddie Roman in Catskills on the boardwalk. Which is just, you just know that this is going to be, you know that the guy's going to come out and there's going to be the Wayne Newton impersonator singing, and it's just like, give me the gun right now. Give me the gun with all 6, just let me empty the 6 bullets into my ear right now. And it was worse.
That sounds like, see, that sounds to me like a show I would want to see, but that's me. I'm sorry. What have you learned from all this? We're out of time. What have you learned? What can you tell us?
I've learned from doing things like going to see Jerry Lewis in plays and things like that, that there's a law at work in the universe which says that if you really hate somebody, if they hang around long enough, you'll eventually get to respect and like them, with the possible exception of Rod Stewart.
Okay.
Or Donald Trump.
Just wanted to, get one more guy before we went out on the wire. Do you know the name of this book yet?
How bad could it be?
All right, Joe Queenan, thank you so much for coming by. I think we'll find out who our sponsors are tomorrow. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. everybody. We're back. Dole looks like a lady. All right. Guess what, folks? Stay tuned next week. We have some really great guests, including the following: Fabio. Oh, man. Watch that show, yeah. Calm down, ladies. Dennis Miller, Mimi Rogers, Rob Schneider, Elton John's going to be with us next week. Bob Saget. Really great week of shows. And, of course, much, much, much more. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Kate will perform.